at the Common House. Paula Pardell, welcome back.
Hey, Mike, how you doing? I'm happy to be here. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. And it is a special show. It's a special show. We're celebrating Sneaker Fest. So happy to partner up with Jimmy Budd and Richmond Fashion Week folks. And they wanted somebody cool. And what I did, I came to my friend Paula Pardell, who is a matchmaker. Paul, let them know how they can find you.
You can check out my website at bloommatchmaking.com. I'm all over social media, Facebook, Insta, everything. And you can give me a call at 804-244-1398. I'd love to talk to you and see how I can help you.
Paula Pardell is a real matchmaker. Don't swipe left and right. Don't do all that foolishness. Just go ahead and up because you guys are going to learn something today. There's some terms out there, and so there's a lot of bad stuff. Andrew, you're married, so you're safe. You're safe because there's things like hoboing and roaching and all kinds of terms for the folks who are out in the world trying to find love. Don't look in the wrong places. Check out my friend Paula Pardell.
Yeah, right now it's cuffing season.
I know what that is.
You know what that, yeah,
I know, yeah, that's old. When the old man know, yeah, and that's yeah.
And I told you about roaching. Now, roaching's a new one. I think it's hilarious. Roaching is
okay.
when,
So all right, so please let the people know what roaching is.
So roaching is when you start to see someone and you're seeing him for a while, and you realize he's seeing other people, and all these other people come scurrying out from the dark corners.
Oh, wow.
The roaches are coming out.
Yeah.
Never heard
Now,
that.
there was a time when people talked about chicken heads.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, and so now the roaches come out. All righty, so we got some special guests with us. Who we got? Next, first up.
Andrew Hypes, DJ producer.
That's it, man.
I didn't know if you wanted to be brief.
Okay, no,
Yeah,
that's
I'm okay. Yeah, DJ producer originally from Waynesboro, Virginia. Shout out to 540. I'm also a drummer. I have a wife, as you said, and a little 3-year-old girl.
I see the social media. 3-year-olds keep you busy.
Yes, she's a handful.
She is a handful.
She's awesome.
I can attest to that.
All righty.
Dave Fruiter Player Day on Instagram is the most debonair. I'm a fashion designer, rapper, impresario. From Bon Air, Virginia, Richmond, Virginia, born and raised. Well, I was born in DC, but I was pretty much raised out here.
All righty. You guys are all part, and shout out to my man Jimmy Budd for sending you guys our way. Explain to us the whole sneaker fest and the whole sneaker head culture. Like Paula Pardell is really cool and hip, so
Okay.
And explain to the old folks like me what exactly the thing is about the whole sneaker culture.
Well, if you haven't noticed, like all the high fashion designers are doing sneakers now. It started with Gucci. Gucci started doing sneakers back in the 80s. They were like the first European designers to really do sneakers. And ever since then, the hip hop culture has gravitated towards sneakers as its foremost mode of expression. And so Richmond has been in the trend-setting scene for sneakers for a long time, and it's only right that RVA Fashion Week kind of do a look for sneakers and urban wear this year.
All righty, Andrew, you're known as the guy you've done the work with Man Skills in the past. Let's talk about chasing dreams and making dreams come true. How you got to where you are, and person who's out there who wants to emulate what you're doing. How do they do that?
Well, so I've been involved in music like my whole life. Started performing as a drummer in 3rd grade, and so I've always naturally gravitated towards music a lot because my dad, he's a musician as well. But
Okay.
yeah, I mean, when you love something, you have to maintain that drive and ambition and see through all the negative stuff that might come your way. I mean, it's not easy. What we do isn't easy by any means. It's just something you gotta kind of have a head down and just tunnel vision on trying to achieve your goals and set goals that are realistic, that might not seem too far, and hit those and then just continue to strive.
Off there, we had talked a little bit about the whole idea of the coolness factor, what's going on in Richmond from a cultural perspective.
Right.
Let's talk about the creatives here. This is a creative hotspot.
Right. I mean, the creatives here have driven pop culture in the last couple of years. One in particular, Sean Weatherspoon, who started round two with a couple friends of his who have become cultural influencers
Global,
themselves.
too. Yeah.
You know, people who weren't in that world couldn't figure out those guys out there. You know, you ride by and people were standing there but waiting for them to open at round two.
People didn't know what it was.
People didn't know.
They didn't know, but you know, now they do. Now they do. Now people are more familiar with Richmond being a sort of leader in the buy, sell, trade marketplace for sneakers.
So for you, from a creative standpoint, how does it happen? Were you always a creative?
Yeah, I always was a creative since really 13, but I always was around hip hop because my older cousin was a rapper. So I've always been around hip hop since I was real young, and that's probably around the early times of hip hop. But for me, like sneakers started when I was in high school, and I started just like drawing Nikes. And you know, from there, you want to have your own brand. So I came up with my own brand. I followed that journey all the way to New York. And when I was in New York, it was just, I was blown away about all the possibilities. Going into New York as a merchandiser, then realizing that there's an accessories program. And at that time, when I was in New York, the sneaker department really didn't exist. There was a footwear part of the accessories department, but now there's a whole curriculum for sneakers.
So sneakers didn't even have their own world. It was accessories, and then there was footwear,
Right.
and sneakers were over there.
They were a part of it.
Paula?
You know, I'm just blown away by the whole sneaker thing. I've always loved shoes. You can look in my closet. I have a little bit of problem with shoes, and
I saw the picture before I've
I
seen.
know I do like my shoes, but you know, it's just what people spend on sneakers and how they're worth more. They're an
Right.
investment, from what I've been told. That people actually make them as an investment and they make money off these sneakers. That blows my mind.
Right. It's a what, $2.7 billion industry. It's crazy.
If I had my Reebok
resale
pumps
industry.
still, I'd be doing all right, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Pumps
pumps
made
are-
a resurgence.
Yeah.
They came back a little bit.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, you know, sneakers have become like the go-to collector's item for menswear, really. And menswear has been on that same trajectory where the fashion cycle increased because, you know, women's typically collect more clothing
Mhm.
than men, and their fashion cycle was 6 times a year. So the men's fashion cycle is actually about 5 times a year now. Sneaker culture has changed the fashion cycle because now designers can drop collections at any time. Sneakers come out 2 and 3 times a month, and a designer can basically chase the sneaker.
I think it's nice also that, you know, men don't have a lot of options when it comes to a suit. You know, they can dress it up. The fashionable men, they'll wear a funky tie or some funky socks, but now they can, you know, personalize their look with their sneakers,
Absolutely.
Definitely.
you know, and give themselves more of an individualized look.
So Andrew, let's talk a little about the mix, music, culture, sports, and the whole DJs. See, a lot of people, this is when you know you're old, that people don't realize that the DJ was the driver before.
Mhm.
You know, the MC was kind of like the side piece.
Right.
And now all of a sudden, then it flipped, and people, you know, everybody wanted to be the MC. Let's talk a little bit about, you know, okay, the marketing of it. Andrew Heights, where'd that come from?
Oh, that's my government name. Andrew Hypes is my real name.
Really?
That's my government.
He was born with it.
I woke up like this.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, yes, sir. Yeah, that's my real name. My dad's Randy Hypes.
That's cool.
That is cool.
That's
When
right.
people say they gave my kid a name, yeah, okay. So you didn't have to come up with, you know, it's kind of like me with the name of the show, you know,
Right.
Mike King Biz.
Right.
You know,
Absolutely.
on the mic with Mike. I took that right from Bad Boys
That's
because I couldn't think of anything else. So from a marketing standpoint, you're known as Andrew Heights. How many, and you're in the music business, you're a DJ, people are talking about hyping things. How often do people think, like me, that that's your stage name?
all the time.
And they're giving you credit like, yo, man, that's dope. So
Yeah.
that stage name is it. And you're looking at them like, nah, man.
That's my so I have a couple residences out here, and when I went to get my first checks, they were like, "Yeah, so what's your real name?" And I was like, "Andrew Hypes." They were like, "What?" Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, I get that a little bit.
I bet you get that. The older set probably really, when you meet a young person, they're like, "Oh, Andrew Heights, that's cool," and then you have to tell them the older person they has to register for a minute.
Right. Like, what?
What? Yeah, that is true. What are some of the cool places around town that you? Okay, you got to let people know how people can find you guys. Too. We're derelict, and this is a promotional show.
Yeah.
That's what we. So how do people find Andrew Heights?
Social media, everything is Andrew Hypes at Andrew Hypes, AndrewHypes.com. Everything is Andrew Hypes.
And what's the process to engage you for an event?
You can reach out. All my booking information is in the bio on my website, on my Instagram, all that stuff.
Okay. What are some of the places that you play at now?
So Friday nights I play at Cabana Rooftop.
Shout out to Canal and those guys.
Yeah, those are my guys.
Good people to work with and partner with.
Definitely. And then Saturdays I do Switch on Broad.
Okay.
Which is also
No.
Yep.
Okay, and Paula had asked already. See, Paula, she's a night out. She's always out with all the hip and cool people. What are the themes at Switch now?
So down upstairs is Moulin Rouge. So they have specialty drinks kind of geared towards that theme. And then downstairs is the 80s, which on Saturday nights I play everything 80s to 2021.
As a DJ, how did you fare during COVID, making it through from the business side?
You know what? As crazy as it was, I think it was like a month before we actually shut down, and I started kind of already coming up with ways that I could make income. So I used to teach production and DJing lessons at Sam Ash music stores,
Okay.
right in the West End. And so literally right when this happened, I started offering FaceTime online DJing and production lessons. And therefore, I mean, it held me over for a while. And then I ended up going to LA to work with comedian actor Jay Farrow. Shout out to Jay Farrow. We just released a project that I produced all of, but and he obviously, Jay paid me, and that
You were able to ride it out.
That helped me withstand all of that. So yeah, it's kind of that's how it ended up.
Let's talk about a man who's an impresario. I always like that word, but everybody can't pull that off.
Right.
Everybody can't. That's like the Steve Harvey red or yellow suit, or something big like that.
Right. Well,
okay, let's talk about that.
It's just I just wear a lot of hats. You may see me in a fedora. You may see me in a pork pie. You may see me in a trucker hat. You may see me as I wear a lot of hats, and I have a lot of businesses that I operate that are in and around the music and fashion industry. So
and you're rocking one of the brands that you got on.
Yeah.
Let's tell us a little bit about that.
This is a piece from Sanjo and Guafo. It's called Krugerin Club, and Krugerins are gold coins from South Africa. So a lot of the pieces in my Sanjo and Guafo and La Maison Don Guafo collection have African motifs.
So how can people find you and your businesses out there?
I'm on Instagram. Check me on Instagram as The Most Debonair.
I like that, man.
You can find.
I like that.
Appreciate you.
I like that.
And I got a rep on there, and I do the most. So you can also find me on Instagram at Guafo Life. That's all my clothing on.
You have a different story. Your family history. You would let Paula know. Give us a little background. Give our listeners some background on that. You don't have the typical. I'm from Philly.
Right.
Well,
I'm from Philly. That's where I'm from.
Yeah, well, I'm from DC, no doubt. But my father is from Cameroon. My father is the Prince of Mancon. And Mancon is a fondom in West Africa. So a fondom is pretty much like a kingdom. And my grandfather is the king. My grandfather is Fond Guafo. And he's been the Fond since 1959. So I have a long legacy of Guafo, people all over the world.
So you have a 3-year-old, is it son?
I have a 3-year-old son and a 7-year-old daughter.
How do you explain to them the family legacy of that? Because that's what they grew up as, but that's not what their friend, that's not the legacy and history of their friends. that their father's a prince. No, really, my father's a prince. You know, it's
Yeah,
like,
that's nuts.
It's different. I mean, you know, royalty is about having an obligation to uphold your community.
Mm.
It's not about money like that. You know what I mean? So that's the way I raise my children. And to be royal is to carry yourself with dignity. Because, you know, African royalty may not necessarily be as financially astute as other cultures and societies. So it's a different kind of perspective on the world. And of course, I instill our language, our cultural values. They have names that are, you know, of their family.
on the mic with Mike King, Paula Pardell here. Paula, how can people find you? What's going on out in the dating world that our listeners would like to hear about? Well, because we're going to, so a lot of young folks operate during RVA Fashion Week. Paula, give them some tips and safeties on how to be safe out there in this world where a lot of craziness is going on from a dating perspective.
Well, I always tell everybody to trust their gut. I know it sounds very simple, but you know, that's what it comes down to. If you think that something isn't right, it generally isn't right. So trust those gut feelings. I know when I was younger, I had the gut feelings, but I didn't always trust it. I just said, that doesn't mean anything, and just went on with what I did. But I think as we grow older, we do learn to trust our guts. So maybe if we can start that a little bit earlier from personal experience, it would be good. And just be careful out there. Everyone's online dating. Check the people out. There's a lot of ways you can check people out. You can search their phone number. You can do a Ben verified check. Just make sure that you're safe, meeting in a public place and things like that. And, you know, being aware that there are red flags, you know, looking at that, dating with intention to find someone that's truly going to be your soulmate and your connection, and not just basing it off of something frivolous is like height, or she's got blonde hair, she's got that, or he's got that.
What is that? Well, when you were saying she got that, what would those stats be?
Well, there are certain characteristics of a woman's figure that men like to go with, but you know, down the
We've been down that
line,
road
those
before.
things fade. What stays over time is your connection, your morality, having the same, wanting the same things out of life and building that together. That's what makes you stay together. Beauty fades over time. You know, when you're 50, 60 years old, you're not going to be saying, God, I wish I would have married somebody that had, you know, some form of a characteristic.
So what you're saying is that characteristic is not the same at 22 as it is at 52.
That's right. It isn't. It really isn't.
Dangerous. Okay, so guys, we've had this conversation, Paul and I, about where you meet people at. You know, back in the day, we've gone to clubs and people going to church. So Andrew, where did you meet your wife at?
I met her in actually in high school. She was best friends with my first cousin.
Oh, okay. All right. So
Yeah,
then y'all got legacy.
Yeah, we
legacy.
we split up for a while and went our separate ways, but yeah, we ended up back together. We got married in 2017. But yeah, we were back again like 4 years before that.
Okay. So no different kind of.
Yeah,
I met her here.
Yeah,
Okay.
I met her in high school.
Wow.
Okay.
That's sweet.
That is. You know what? I ain't
So
even. I've been married 40 years. I'm like, all right, man. That is a sweet. That's a sweet story. I hear you. I'm not even gonna front. That's a good one.
Yeah.
So we've had dating stories, you know, horror dating stories where Paula talked about a guy being dressed up as Darth Vader.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How was that?
I have a friend of mine.
Not Halloween.
She's very smart, educated, successful, all these other things. She met a guy online. She was talking to him for quite a while.
Makes
Thought,
sense.
you know, he sounds like a good guy. You know, it's time for us to make the next step. So they made a date to go to the Cheesecake Cake Factory. And lo and behold, he was dressed as Darth Vader with the voice and everything. That's crazy.
That's actually the coolest thing I've ever heard.
That's what I'm saying.
My son
You
was like,
voice- Hey, you
"Okay."
know-
The voice did it. for
Not just the outfit.
me. Right.
The question is, how do you get out of that? You know, I got to go to the bathroom and you break out,
You
or
skate.
or you
Yeah.
just sit there and chill for a while?
Actually, that's probably.
I
Yeah,
would
then
probably
for a
chill
minute-
and have a drink and just listen to what he had to say.
Yeah, I mean, it's entertaining. At least you're in a public place.
Everybody's
It's
looking.
not dangerous.
Everybody's looking at you.
I would have questions.
That's
And that's because you're a
hilarious.
professional.
But
Okay.
my son thought that was awesome too.
Yeah,
He's
no,
like,
that's awesome.
because we're all like big Star Wars fans. He's like, well, what's wrong with that? That's cool. I'm
Yeah.
like, well, you know.
You better go to the Comic Cons to find a woman who's down with that.
Yeah,
You
right,
roll
right,
into the
right.
Cheesecake Factory, first of all,
Yeah.
when you hit the door, everybody's there like,
Not the cheesecake
I
factory.
wonder
Was
if
there
he
a
took off his
convention?
mask.
Are we late? Is it Halloween? I'm inappropriate.
exactly like that commercial
Right.
that's out right now. The woman rolled up in there and she got the Viking outfit on.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
what, any dating, a good place to meet
that.
that person?
Well, a good place to meet. I met my baby mother, my significant other, at Richmond Fashion Week. So
Okay,
Oh,
so
wow.
she's
this platform is very special.
this platform works for
Shout
you.
out, shout out RVA Fashion. Yeah, but I would just say like follow your passion. Wherever you know what you like to do will take you to where you want to be.
Having the right mindset
That's
is
true.
critical. You know, if you go out with the wrong mindset that you're desperate, because I know a lot of people with COVID, you know, we've all been sitting alone and you get this like desperateness to you. That attracts the wrong kind of person. Going out with a positive attitude and just being like, you know what, maybe I'll meet a new friend today. If it goes further, it goes further.
So, Paula, you always say opposites attract, but they don't last.
Generally, they don't stay together. But you know, there are some things though. Sometimes when you do have differences in a relationship, you complement each other. It's like picking out a business partner. You don't want to pick out a business partner that's exactly the same as you. You want to pick out someone who makes up for the weaknesses that you have, that you work together, and that you can build something together.
So, Paula, she says she's a person's perfect wingman because she helps you see people without the rose-colored glasses.
Right.
Because we be looking at things all wrong. Paula, explain that, please.
Well, we all do that. It's a part of
The brothers.
being
Exactly. Exactly. So Paula's out there at the club with you. You look over and she'd be like, "No, not that one. No, don't do that." Why not? They were like the last 8 of them that you tried.
Yeah, sometimes it's nice to date off type. You know, people come to me and they're like, well, I've been dating a certain type. It hasn't been working for me. I don't know how to pick people. So I want you to help me pick someone different off that type. And sometimes that's a good idea because we do it subconsciously. You know, sometimes it comes from how we grew up and what we grew up around. And subconsciously, we keep picking these same people over and over again. And we wonder why we're just in this vicious circle of having these same relationship problems.
So now you guys have been on the program. There's a responsibility out there to be able to help and school your friends. So Paula is saying, work on your dating profile. Paula, so you're saying what not to do as a guy in the dating profile.
Don't be negative. Don't say, I don't want this, this, and this. Like these guys put on here, I don't want someone with baggage. It's like, really? You probably have the most baggage. You're saying that. You know, everybody's got baggage. It's about how we move forward from our baggage and what we learned from it and our attitude going forward. And please, please stay away from the fish pics. My God, there's so many guys up on the dating apps. They got their dead fish. I know you're proud of that fish, but you know what?
Oh no.
What kind of woman do you want to attract? Do you want to attract a woman?
A fisher.
A fisher,
A woman.
a fisher
A
woman,
fisher
yes.
woman.
This is
You
a
know,
thing.
and just
This-
in the muscle
yeah.
pics get old and
The
everything.
muscle
too.
pics get old too.
Oh, they do.
Now, you know, welcome to the gun show. That's not.
Right.
Yeah, they
Right.
try to look like you're tough. You know,
Nah.
It doesn't work because you got like a tenth of a
man.
second before someone swipes left or swipes right on you. So you have to have a nice picture that shows off your personality, where you have a nice smile, and I can help with that. We're developing a new thing where I'm helping people with their dating app profiles. We help them write their profile, we help them get the proper pictures, and we help you with those first texts. It's so hard to make that first text and knowing what to say and trying to get the conversation rolling and trying to get you off the app to a
See,
date.
that's why I roll with her because you know
The first
I mean,
text.
the
that's
first.
good.
Hey,
That's
what's
all
up?
right.
That's
That
definitely
Paula
true.
said the first text isn't "What's up." That's not a good one.
No, because you're going to be ignored because a lot of times
What's up?
people
What's
are
up?
messaging multiple people and they'll be like, yeah, what's up, goodbye. You know, you should take something from their profile. You know, oh, I see you like dogs. I have a dog. Or, something like that. Taking something, and then the things,
No.
things like, oh, you're so beautiful and blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh yeah, okay, thanks, please, next.
Some of the stuff she's told me over these years, I just be like, really? Really? I mean, come on, seriously, what cornball falls for some of those things? Well, guys, over and over again. You said, Paula, don't look at things with the rose-colored glasses.
Right. Just dating with intention, really thinking about what you're doing and where you're going, really that's hard to say, you want to analyze things, but then there's a point where you think you're in your head too much and you think about it too much. That's a gray area, you need to think about it, but don't think too much about it, because there are green flags too. I tell people all the time, I have clients, they're going out and they didn't see that. I'm like, he likes you, call him, go out with him again. We miss those too.
So there are green flags.
Of course there are. Sometimes we're too busy looking for the red flags that we forget about the green flags too. It's a
Okay.
dance. I gotta say.
It is a dance. Now, the dance is operated, both of you guys operate in a world where things happen late at night. The dances change late at night, Yeah. You guys, the fashion world, the creative world, a lot of that goes on later at night.
Closing
Sure, right.
time.
Yeah, closing time.
Closing time.
Paula, give our listeners an idea of some of the reasons why they should be careful of closing time.
Oh, good Lord. Do we need some? Well, first of all, how many drinks have you had? And second of all, it's 2:00 in the morning. You're looking around. It's like, I don't want to be alone tonight, but really, maybe you should be alone tonight. Because you're going to wake up in the morning. You're going to look over your shoulder. You're going to be like, damn, what was I thinking?
But that's what you're going to say.